Sun. Light. Sunlight on closed eyelids. Light. Pupils shrink to a pinprick. A speck of coal dust. Sunlight enters my room. My upturned face absorbs the warmth. My eyes. It is a new day, deeply felt, and rouse myself from slumber. I'm standing in a field. The field cries out to be touched by sunlight. I try to open my eyes to the sounds in the field. Field is waiting for attention. The last cadence of a dawn chorus. Plums need gathering. A cow lowing. An apple bursting through its skin. Grass needs cutting. The long grasses rippling on their slender stalks, spurned on by the faintest of breezes. Pollen-laden flowers jostle their heavy heads. Cow is calling for attention in the room under where I sleep. She wants to be milked. She needs to feed on grass and clover, heavenly scented, brightly coloured. I'll take my scythe and give it an edge. It is anxious to start cutting. The grasses here have only ever heard the whisper of a scythe, the labour of the scythe, skirting close to the ground and over undulations of molehills. Neatly lays in swathes the long grasses and clover, cut for animal feed. With the meadows shorn, all is left to dry. While the day remains warm, all is left to dry. I am in the barn. It is dry and dusty. Here I found a warm, worn-handled scythe for want of a new blade. In the meadow the hay is turned, pitchforked into bundles, and an old whetstone, worn down to a point, stored in the barn. Lost among the hay, laid layer upon layer. Through a gap in the weatherboards I see below, there's a chance to plough the field laid out. It looks relaxed. Animal is harnessed and urged on, pulling at the reins. There, in an overgrown corner, an abandoned plough reclines at an angle, up and down, turning in tight corners. Furrows have long since softened themselves and returned to the earth. It takes all my strength to plough a furrow straight. My animal, sweating, takes the strain while I steer, stumbling. There is no trace now that ever the plough walked this field, or that a harrow broke up the clods in its wake. Tightly gripping the handles, bounding over dislodged stones with a jolt, turning the topsoil, and riding roughshod over remnants of harvest. Yet a fringe remains that follows the field's edge, up to the path that leads down to the source. Honest toil. And there we go, yoked to plastic bottles, for precious spring water. The train pulls into the station. I disembark. Stepping into a bright day and down into the valley, I step out from the shadow of the wood and make my way to the river's edge. A pontoon bridge takes me across the river. My footsteps ring hollow. There is little motion in the river. The ferryman tugs at the rope gently, drawing us across. Where a mist is still rising, the only sound I hear, the sound of an approaching train, is the train departing. It won't leave without me. The lengthening shadows of trees feel their way blindly into the orchard. Bare branches reach out to caress the field beyond, tentative at first of such tenderness in this hard-wrought land. I walk out into the field. For a moment I pause, and look with an untutored eye across the meadow. I notice the lengthening shadows of trees. The soil under my feet is unknown where my spade wants to dig. For a moment I pause, as if trespassing on another's land, uncertain I've chosen a fertile plot in which to dig. Is yielding and fertile, and the blade slices cleanly through the surface veneer of densely woven grasses, down to a spade's depth, levered and turned and repeated, levered and turned, releasing a warm smell of humus. The earth is kind and yielding. Mapping the ground in measured footsteps, where certain stones mark territorial edges, lying in places well known, lying in places overgrown, older than ancestry, obscured in undergrowth, touchstones that give me a grounding to work in my field. I work, clearing the undergrowth up to the embankment's edge, a measured space in which to dig. More sky appears between each limb,
still so warm,
as trees cast into the wind their
I
bronzed
could be
autumnal
deceived,
leaves,
for thinking
edged in
it
burning
is
red
spring.
and black decay,
Colours
colours almost
changing
singed for want of cooler
from their
days,
summer greens,
rich mossy greens and blue-tinted lichens, vibrant shades of ochre and orange. The season's wind-blown wreckage
remains
remains.
of leaves lie scattered in drifts,
Ankle-deep mounds of
lie
lobe-edged
under the
oak, serrated
and the
lime,
limes,
and smooth walnut, all long abandoned by their branches. I'll take a rake
and
to
sweep
tidy
them
up and burn them,
filling
scenting
the air with plumes of brilliant white smoke
with that acrid smell
in an otherwise flawless sky.
that is autumn.
The fires are lit and the fields glow. The
The
labouring
evening
men
sun
work in
brightens
silence
the
in their
wall.
unfenced acreage,
In the room
burning stubble, each in his field,
where the
slow
colour
wound
deepens
and the blood
to a crimson,
stiffens in the veins.
the
earth
floorboards
contracts
creak underfoot, unsettling the dust. Viewed from the window, the folds in the valley open like a book,
breaking the spine,
where the unwritten lines linger in the wood smoke, hanging in horizontal layers. In the woodshed, a tidily stacked stock of logs, where the axe still remains lodged
stuck
in
in
the
a
stump.
and prepare for winter.
Splintered, feather-headed, the logs brace themselves for winter,
Stick upon stick, log upon log,
neatly
roughly cut
hewn from trees
felled
sapped
in
of
the
their
neighbouring
summer
wood.
strength. The chainsaw cuts through the familiar village sounds.
Over the past few months, hens have been culled, pigs slaughtered, fields ploughed,
And tractors grumbling to themselves on the backs of bare hills, chasing after runaway furrows.
the days are drawing in.
Migrating birds swim across a mackerel sky. A new moon rises, unexpectedly.
There'll be a frost tomorrow. It is dark out, pitch black.
No sound from the meadow except the top of a plum tree breaking off, burdened under the weight of snow. It
Snow
has been falling all night,
night.
muting all other voices.
Drifts have reached halfway up the front door, lying just under the ledge of the windows.
The house is increasingly closed off. The neighbours are becoming more distant. I move closer to the fire.
My
His fire. I need that broken wood. It would be useful now.
and add another log to keep out the cold. The animals are asleep below. No one stirs.
It is so silent.
Outside, not even a dog bark.
Trudging through snow, all has succumbed to sleep below a dense white covering. The landscape's stored energy is waiting for an incentive,
and that
particular imperative to grow. All has been woven into whiteness. Each knotted stitch of thread stretches to my foot's depression, as I struggle cautiously for balance,
and so
as not to wake from unresolved dreams, the wilderness
and
the village from hibernation. Late spring morning,
I pack my usual small bag and step out into the damp air, fastening the door behind.
I open a window. A chill spikes the air. The mist is late in lifting.
This morning.
Pulling on my boots, I open the door and step outside. The air is opaque. I walk with great care, fumbling my way.
The grass is slippery underfoot, but the path to me is known.
Sombre shadows and silhouettes, giant heroic forms menace the distance.
Ahead the trees stand in relief. I know these trees in every season, each and every character.
Etched details gradually come into focus. Small sounds escape the vacuum. The desire path wanders off to places yet to be explored.
Approaching now, the dark hollow opens up, through which I enter
into the wood. I enter where the air is moist and smeared leaves smudged into the earth take the impression of my footprints,
leaving tracks, my footprints,
to guide my return,
as I have done every day,
lasting just long enough to outlast the span of this present year. A sudden snap in the clouds, and for a moment the valley glows. Sheltering my eyes, I walk towards the
my
field, flattening the wayward grass,
buried beneath the burden of wheat,
and collecting burrs on my frayed-edged clothes. Walking to that sunlit clearing,
years of work,
filled with the breeze of
toiling
chopping,
with axes,
digging.
with shovels and saws.
Sounds from every valley flock to where my feet are taking root.
Soil cakes my boots, down where the valley glows,
And standing in that field, edged by hedge and trees,
and only a breeze brings some relief.
breathe the richly scented air.
Today such as these, heavy days, heavy heat,